experience. The next program is going to be about the youth. Our father is going to tell us a bit about his life during his youth time. And he's also going to talk about the topic for this convention. What is Amazing Grace? What do you want to know? What is it called? Why Amazing Grace? Follow us carefully. Please, for those who that is watching us outside South Africa, share, repost, and comment. You can also send your question to us through our Facebook page. We will be able to pick it up and also throw your question to our father. Thank you. As I welcome our father, Daddy, it's a great pleasure to have you in South Africa. Let me start by greeting you with South Africa warm welcome. In South Africa, if they want to greet someone, they will say Sambonani, Unjani. So those are the things that we use to welcome ourselves or greet each other in South Africa. We greet you, sir. We privileged to have you in the house as our father in the Lord and as a chairman of the Apostolic Church, Lona Territory, Nigeria, and the vice president of the Apostolic Church, Nigeria. Sir, can you please help us to tell us little about yourself from the journey being a youth in the church till where you are now, sir?
Thank you very much. I am Pastor E.S Awojide, Lona Territorial Chairman and First President of the Apostolic Church in Nigeria. I was born to the church, grew up in the church, baptized in the church, received right hand of fellowship in the church, married in the church, and ordained as an elder precisely on 6th April 1975, ordained as an overseer of the Apostolic Church 9th May 1982, and came out for full-time ministry in 1985. Ordained as a pastor 14th December 1986, ordained as an apostle 23rd October 1994, and became a member of the National Council of the Apostolic Church Nigeria in 2007, appointed Deputy Secretary of the Apostolic Church Nigeria in 2006, and became Lona Territorial Chairman by the grace of God by April 2017. And hitherto the Lord has helped us. And God has enabled us as an Apostolic Church in Nigeria to have presently over 100 areas. And this year alone, by the grace of God, we are creating 7 other areas in the course of the year. And hitherto the Lord has helped us. The Apostolic Church Nigeria has a university in Edo State, in Ogwa. And by the grace of God, we are turning out the 4th set of students this year by around September. That's the milestone we have reached in the course of the church. There is a national temple that can accommodate around 60 to 100,000 people that has already been put in place. And the church is going by leaps and bounds. And during the centenary celebration of the church last year, we ordained a total number of 185 apostles in the church to join the League of Apostles that are already in service. And that is the great work of God that's ongoing in the church.
Thank you so much, sir, for that introduction.
Yeah.
There is something that strikes me when you are mentioning the journey so far, that you are born in the church, grew up in the church, married in the church, and still in the Apostolic Church.
Yes.
Sir, there are a lot of youth out there that believe that can be possible. Can you please, sir, explain to us how do you manage to be able to stand firm in the doctrine of the church, even from your childhood to your adulthood until when you are already in your old age and you are still standing in the church, sir?
It is all by the grace of God, which is the topic and the theme of this convention. The sustaining grace of God, the sufficient grace of God, the amazing grace of God, the manifold grace of God, the effective and efficient grace of God. The grace of God, like Paul said, by the grace of God, I am what I am. Without the grace of God, there can be nothing done by man. It's the grace of God, the grace that sustained hitherto, and that the grace can continue with us, can lead us higher, even to the end. Is the sufficient grace of God.
Thank you so much, sir. That will lead me to introduce the second moderator, which is our brother, Brother Jonathan Owen. He will be asking some question about the topic of the convention. And I will hand over to him. Pastor, it's over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother. Papa, thank you very much for this long journey in the ministry and all that you have encountered during your youth to this age. As you said, I think it is grace of God. But let me just start from there. Why do you choose the grace, amazing grace, for South Africa? Do you see anything so peculiar or special about South Africa why you choose amazing grace for this country?
Now, the grace of God is the grace that brings into salvation. People are not worthy. Grace of God is giving the best to a person who doesn't deserve it, a person who is disqualified, a person who doesn't desire, a person who is ill-equipped for the grace. And that is the grace of God. We are a generation of Gentiles who didn't know God. But by grace of God, Christ came down to bring us to that level of grace of God. And it is the grace of God that can save man. Because by nature, we are far from God. By nature, we are sinful. By nature, we are unholy. And God is holy. But because of the grace of God, Jesus condescended. He agreed to come down to the level of a man, to become man, and to give man the grace. It's by that grace that by inspiration of God we think we should start with the grace of God. Because without the grace of God, we are not fit for the mercy of God. We desire judgment. Rather than God putting us into judgment, he showed grace and he justified us. Justification by faith. Justification through his grace. Justification through his blood. Justification through faith, we are justified. We that need to be condemned.
Thank you very much. Without the grace of God, we are not qualified for the mercy of God. This is the first international convention,
Yes.
especially in South Africa.
Yes.
Have you had any other first international convention, any other country except South Africa?
No. But I've traveled as far as we have been in Togo, we have been in Republic of Benin, we have also been in Cameroon, but it was not the first. But that of Togo was the initial convention, and that was in 2009 when they took the autonomy from Nigeria, because Nigerian piloted the church in Togo, and after 50 years, they had their autonomy. I was in that convention too.
Great. What is your excitement over this convention in South Africa?
The excitement is that even natives are coming into the church, because the gospel is for all nations. It's not just for a group of people. It's not just for a section of people. Salvation is for all, and Jesus died for all mankind. And it's not just a group of people, but it's bringing people, the natives of the land, into the fold of Christ, so that they can continue in their own environment, they can expand in their own language, they can go to other places to reach out the gospel and to extend the gospel to other parts within their community and beyond.
Wonderful. We thank God for that.
And it's amazing grace,
Yeah.
amazing the fact that it's a wonderful thing. Wonderful in the sense that God is holy, can make himself available to the whole unholy people. Amazing in the sense that God who is righteous can send his son to die for on the righteous. For a holy God to come down, for a sinless God to come and die for the sinful. A person who is high to reduce himself to a level of soul low, to a lower level of indignity in order to save the soul. It's really amazing that God will die and save us and bring us to himself. It's really amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
What are the efforts we should put together to make sure that we bring this amazing grace in South Africa to reality?
Now, those of us who have received the grace, we should allow this grace to work in our life. This grace must be reflected in the life we live. Others may see the transformation power of this grace in our life. It is through that transformation that has actually taken place in those that have believed, that others will see. As the scripture says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. This grace must be reflected in our homes, in our business life, in our office life, in our relationship to other people, to our neighbors. They must see we have received the grace, so that we can have a testimony like Paul said, I am what I am by the grace of God.
Daddy, thank you so much for the time, sir.
Yes.
It's well explained. And I believe those who that is listening to us all over the world, I hope you get one or two things. Daddy already give us the definition of what amazing grace is. And we are so fortunate in South Africa to actually have such great topic to start with. And before I round up, sir, because we wish we can have this conversation for a very long time, but we know you've been on the seat for a very long hour. So we thank you also, and we thank all our audience out there that is listening to us. But, sir, before you go, sir, there is one question that I would love to throw to you, sir. And that question is about, are you looking forward to have more convention like this around SADC region? When I say SADC, SADC contain Zimbabwe, Malawi, Uganda, Congo, Lesotho, Swaziland. Those are the countries that come together that they call SADC. So are we looking forward to have any of this kind of inauguration in any of the neighboring country anytime soon?
By the grace of God, we have already put in place Zonal African Leadership Conference. We have held that conference on 2 occasions in Lagos. It is only the third one that we didn't get sufficient response. So by the grace of God, we are going to re-inaugurate the Zonal African Leadership Conference that will embrace the whole of Africa. And with that, in that context, this zone is actually included.
Thank you so much, sir. In 1 minute, I see that you have a question. You can come up to the floor, sir.
I just want to say, in 1 minute, what can you tell the world that are looking at us and viewing our program now? 1 or 2 words you want to tell the people concerning this convention today.
The grace of God is available, is for all. The grace of God for salvation to all men. Salvation is not a preserve of one nation. It's not the property of a particular country. It's not the property of a particular race or color. Salvation of God is for all mankind. And Jesus died for all mankind. And therefore, without Jesus, no salvation. He's the author of salvation, he's the author of the faith, he's the finisher of the faith, and therefore, all men must turn unto him and be saved. So that at the end of this life, a place prepared in heaven, a place where there's no returning, an eternal place prepared for all mankind, for those who accept Jesus, we may have access to it at the end of this life. Because this life is temporarily. There is an end to this life. But there's a future life, a future glory for all mankind and those who believe in him. And it is the intent of this that the gospel of Jesus must be preached throughout the world before the end comes.
Thank you so much, sir. That is a very great explanation. And for those who that is watching all over the world, what Baba is saying to you is that it's not about miracle, it's about salvation. The greatest miracle that can happen in your life is your salvation. Thank you so much. Share and tune in. And please, don't turn away from it. Sit down. We're coming back. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.